Good morning. Good morning. Just getting everybody in. Give me just a minute or two while everyone comes. You should see the screen. You should hear my voice. Oh, we have a great crew coming in today. Love it. I was like, I'm not sure who's going to come, but you guys are amazing. Well, Merry Christmas Eve, everyone. I hope you have some fun plans after this. Good morning, Perry. Got to go pick up some chocolate croissants and some breadsticks from Olive Garden for later consumption. Oh, that's right. Sandy is in Australia, so it's already Christmas. So Merry Christmas to you. You're even more dedicated. Love it. All right, let's dive right in. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Paul said Merry Christmas Eve all. Right back to you, sir. Thank you everyone for coming out. I mean, look, we're skipping tomorrow. Obviously, no market. So we will be meeting on Tuesday. I should probably send an email that just confirms that and make sure everyone remembers. But Tuesday is our weekly market open. There'll be two sessions Tuesday. We'll have a weekly market open in the morning, and we'll have a options foundations course in the evening. What better way to celebrate post-Christmas to help ease those post-Christmas blues? Welcome out, everyone, to the weekly market prep. I am Scott. I will be your host. Let's get into it. Here are the disclaimers. Here is the agenda. We are going to posture. We're going to look at the economic calendar. I don't know if we need any searching. Here's a question. Do you find that you are seeing or finding an adequate number of trades, the number of trades that you're interested in based on our current watch list? Right now, for me, my answer is yes. Stephen quickly said yes. If not, you know what to do. You can go in. There are plenty of times that we're like, oh, I'll take this one, but there's two or three others that we might have said, this looks pretty good too. It's not like when we run a search, there's only three stocks that just stand out. We have a subjective process to select a couple from each industry group from within a sector in order to give us a good broad representation. So I promise you that if you decided, you know what, I actually would like to trade a little more, and I think if I had a few more stocks, I would say, run a search for every of the 5 growth sectors, and you could easily grab 2 or 3 more per sector. That's going to put 10 or 15 more on your list. Problem solved. All right. Perry said yes as well. So I don't know that we're going to need to do any searching. I think that we just did industrials the other day, added a few more there. Watch list maintenance. We've been trying to do that. There may be a couple that we've been watching that we may not trade that we think, maybe we should get rid of that. Definitely, we're going to have an early week shopping list. That's a fact. Trading plan section of the week, nothing. This is your 1 week off from your trading plan. This is the week of joy and reflection. We're going to move into our trader New Year's resolutions next week, and we're going to start with section 1 next week on the first week of the year, and we're going to hit that. So that's the agenda. Let's get into it. Okay. Today is 12/24. Christmas Eve. We're coming in at a 6.5. As we evaluated on Friday, I thought 625, right? maybe a 6.5. Maybe one goes down, one goes up. I'm thinking volume is probably going to drop a quarter to a half. It's hard for volume to stay. I've been saying this the whole time that we've been seeing things getting better. In fact, I would actually say that volume seems to have lasted a little longer than expected, which in my opinion has given it a greater amount of initial boost to propel the new bull market. But it's very difficult for this to stay sometimes even positive. It'll just drop back to neutral because you're just not seeing any. You're not seeing above average volume days for buyers. They don't need it. You're not seeing above average volume days for sellers because they're not there. And that gives us a 0 or maybe a 0.25. And the trend scores tend to trend in VIX scores. You can see the VIX is up at 1.75. That's close to the highest. Same with sector rotation. So those probably aren't going to go anywhere. Obviously, this one's not. That's probably not. That's probably going to drop. The question is, does major markets start to contribute back to about a half a point possibly? So let's get into it and let's see what we think. Whoops. Where's my charts? There we go. Oh gosh, there's plenty of opportunities developing for us for this week. Here is the weekly. Now, I get asked all the time. So if you see it hitting resistance, does that mean you're going to start to score it down because you think it's going to bounce down? That's not what this analysis is about. We're not here to try to project the long-term trend bouncing off of resistance. And you'll notice the last time it moved strongly up to this level, it did pause for 1 week, and then it gave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more weeks of real strong action. So no, we don't make assumptions. This support and resistance line is there to map the trend. Give us our trend strength angle. This is a 1 is what we have it at. Yeah. Could it get better? Well, of course. Look back here and what year is this? 2021. That was better. That was more 1.5. So certainly one of the things that we might look for based on the strength of our score is the possibility that it does move up, come back down, find something in here, and then go up again. And who knows what the timeline is, but certainly that would look more like this one over here. And that would be more of a 1.5 score if we were to see it accelerate into that type of an action. Yeah, I have every confidence something like that could happen for sure. Okay. Weekly score unchanged for me. If any of you see it different or have a question like, I don't know, are you sure? Great, call it out. Call it out. Let's talk about it. Let's make sure that we're all on the same page as we complete our last market posture for 20. Is this our last market posture for 2023? I think it is, right? We'll do one in 2023. Where will we be? Oh man, New Year's Eve. Yeah, let's do it New Year's Eve. So New Year's Eve we'll do it, but that's for the next year. So last posture for 2023. Okay, short-term trend. This is what we saw last week. It went up. Now, did it theoretically touch a higher point than it did the prior week? Yes. Am I scoring that a higher score? No. Now, it wasn't enough. We only had this little like 1 day pullback here, and then it went up for 2, and then it's pulled back, and it seems like it's kind of hitting some resistance. It's tough to say one way or the other, but I feel like my 1.75 right now is accurate for what we're seeing. So at this point, I'm going to leave it and try to see what trend establishes next. What I mean is we don't necessarily have a real, like it kind of went up hard and then it paused, then it gapped and it meandered for a little while and then it shot. Now it's sideways. And it's like, we don't have a consistent, if I could just draw real quickly here, It's not doing something like this, right? Where we have this trend and we're like, yeah, clearly this is the score, like this, like the long term did or is doing. We've been having to score based on breaking resistance levels, higher high, higher low, another higher high, and that's gotten us to the 175. Um, we'll see. I think that's a good positive score and is representative of what the market looks like right now. I'm going to leave that and wait to see if anything else changes. That's another one that's unchanged. As we expected, right? Nothing unexpected there. Volume. Okay. And I've been off a couple of times where I'm like, oh, I think volume's going to do this, and then I was completely wrong. So, let's see. Did we score this one above average? I believe we did. 1, 2, 3. Above, above, sellers, sellers, buyers. Yeah, this is interesting. Let's get these drawn in. So we did go from here to here. We had a shadow. Oh no, I can't remember if I've been counting that one or not. Someone tell me if you remember. I kind of am leaning towards definitely giving that one. Okay, let's go see what else we have. There's an above average volume day there. And then we have 3 here. And those are interesting, right? So we had buyers, buyers. The next one is iffy too. If I give that, I definitely have to give that. Then we have 2 more over here. And I'm going to say that clearly that's sellers here and buyers here. Okay, I'm going to go with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buys, 2 sells. The problem is that the fresher data is 3-2. So we have these two out here. Ooh, I don't know. 5-2. I feel like we could leave it. I feel like we could drop it a quarter of a point because of the fact that the fresh data is more in balance. Weigh in. How are you scoring yours? I want feedback from you guys. Do you think the 5-2 is do you think that the 0.75, we're going to vote and that's how I'm going to score it today. If you think leave it at 0.75, give me put an A in your messaging. If you think, yeah, it's easing up a little bit, let's drop it to a 0.5. Give me a B. We're gonna go with the group today. Okay. Steven says my SPY shows the last volume was less. This one here, the ending. So I'm showing that on Friday. Okay, that looks like you're short a week on that picture. No? You 1, 2, 3. Those, I think those days, what you're seeing, whoops, took the wrong picture away. Um, that's these 3 here, and then you have this whole week here. Look to see if your chart's not all the way pushed to the right. Sometimes that can happen. So let's see. Press says B, Perry says A. A little more conservative press says, got it. Paul says A, Sandy says A. You know what? Press, you're outvoted, my friend. The group has spoken. Let's go ahead and leave it. I'm good with that. Basically, when you leave it, you're saying, you know what, let's let next week decide. If next week nothing happens, do we lose any of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. But this one is literally at the very edge. Actually, it's only 4, so they'll both be there. We only have 4 market days next week. Okay. Yeah. Let's leave it and we'll see what next week brings. So, okay, volume stayed. What do you know about that? I like the discussion. I hope the discussions help you sometimes, right? Like these are your internal discussions. If and when you ever leave this magical group of ours, don't ever leave us. I fully expect this is a part of your. I've had people that I coached one-on-one and that I saw them like literally 5 years later, or they emailed me 5 years, 7 years later. One person was like 7 years. They're like, I don't even know if this is your email anymore, but I just wanted to let you know, still trading, still doing market posture every week, right? Still doing market posture every week. And Merry Christmas Eve to you in LA, Bob. Bob wasn't sure if he can make, but he's squeezing it in. I hope you're having a blast with family. Welcome, Michael. Good to see you as well. We just had a spirited Christmas discussion on volume, and we decided we're leaving volume unchanged. Volume is going to stay at a 0.75, which means we still see the buyers, pushing. When the sellers tried to come, buyers still pushed them back. Fantastic. All right. Let's move on to major market analysis. This is where we may see something different. Okay. Obviously, nothing different for us on the 200-day. We have the NASDAQ just clearly leading in the foray. We have S&P in the middle, the Dow where it's been below. One thing I do notice, look at this smash and grab by small caps. Bam, 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 bam. They're really trying to stomp their way back in. I think we're going to see that. That's what we're saying we're looking to see score better. Although the Dow has showed a remarkable amount of resilience and holding up. So this is going to be interesting. Let's drop down to 133 days. So this gives us nothing. We have total parity. On the 133 days, you can see right there in late September, October, it was almost directly correlated across all indices. And then here in September, when things started to get bad, I hope you can see this clearly. But when things started to go bad, how fast the small caps led the way down, which is why we look at it the way that we do. It got to here faster, and then when everything else bottomed out around 6 to 8%, it was down 13%. Just even in this period of time, it can have greater amounts. But on the recovery, it's gone from minus 13 right back up into this mix. So that's very interesting, right? Now, as we move into the scoring time frame, 66 days. Drum roll, please. Ding. What do we have? Oh, looky. And all of a sudden, bam, we have both the NASDAQ and the Russell having moved into a leading position. It's gone back and forth, right? We've seen it go back and forth a little bit, but this is where it clearly if I kind of start to go back a little bit, not that long ago, we still had the Dow. Like, oh, the Dow's still here. But as we've moved forward, you can see that has shifted. I mean, honestly, it's this can make an argument for a half a point jump on the major market. Let's move back to 22 days and look at that. There's the Russell. Everything else is up 5 or 6%. Small caps, 13. They've doubled. They've doubled everybody else in the last 22 days. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling the Christmas spirit on that one. Let's drop back to the spreadsheet. Steven said I gave it a bump. The 0.5 is a guarantee. That's a lock. That's a lock. I am very tempted to give it a 0.75. I'm actually going to hold off. I'm going to leave it at 0.5 to make sure that it holds up one more week. It's just 1 week. So let's, it's definitely stronger. The fact that this is one of the strongest 66-day charts we've seen. And you can see that it was coming out of this consolidation. And then as we catapulted forward, really it was back here. It was December 12th that this thing really shot up. The IWM really shot up. Bob said he's in IWM. Makes sense. I've traded it a couple of times as well. Yeah. Okay. I think that's the score. If anyone went to a 0.75, I would not fault that at all. I'm super tempted, like leaning, and then I'm thinking, you know what? Let's just, like Press said, a little bit conservative here. We can raise it next week if we continue to see that strength. Or if it ebbs a little bit, we can say, yeah, let's leave it at a 0.5. Press said he saw an analyst believes IWM will outperform the NASDAQ in the first part of 2024. It's been behind for quite a while. And historically, you will find it to show up and participate in the stronger bull markets that we've had. That's why we keep talking about it. That's why we've waited to see this happen. So, okay. Sector rotation. Let's go take a look at that. What are we looking for here? Some people might say, well, why are you looking at it? It's a 1. It can't get better. Well, because we have to look to see if it ever starts to get worse, right? I don't think it's going to, but that's why we look, is to be like, oh, look at this. We didn't expect this. You can see, hopefully, how many times, even when I look at this on Friday, that by Monday, I'm surprised and like, oh, well, I wasn't expecting that. That happens regularly. That's why we do it. It's like they say, that's why they play the game. Okay, so let's go into our sector rotation analysis. Technology, communication services, as always, at the top of the chart. Consumer discretionary in that third position. Then down here, we have industrials and financials. And this is our big 5. I don't care about the big 7 stocks. I care about the big 5 sectors. Those sectors are what I want. And then who's down here? Materials, not far behind industrials. That's not surprising. Healthcare, which is a little more hybrid, part defensive, part growth. Then you have energy. Then we have defensive staples, defensive utilities down here at the bottom. Very bullish starting point, right? As we would expect now that we've moved out of this consolidation, September, October consolidation. A little more parity on the 133, like we would expect, but still more of what? Financials in the top, comm services at the top, technology at the top. Second tier, industrials, there's the S&P, discretionary, big five. Big five, still at the top. Who's next? Energy, materials, not far behind, but there's a little surge there. Healthcare, meh. Defensive staples, defensive utilities, they're down here in the negative. We're not seeing anything in here yet. This still looks like the one we gave it when Sandy declared it to be so. 66. Tech. Oh, we love technology. Oh, we love it so much. Industrial strong, financial strong. We know those have been financials in December, right? Late November, December, financials. Am I right? Just the gift that keeps on giving. We have discretionary in there. We have comm services in there. So across our first 3 time frames, same picture in different representations. This is as good as it gets for sector rotation, and it should make us excited. We like to see it. Technology looks like it should continue leading. Industrial same, financial same. Materials not far behind financials, like we said. And then down here, what do we have? Healthcare, staples, utilities. Just carrying the bags from the bottom. And energy. Now, here's the deal. We'll see this on the 22, I think. Energy looks like, oh, it's in the depths. There's nothing there. We don't have to worry about energy. We do, always. We do always. So does this still justify the 1 score? 100%. But when we drop it down to 22, it's surged. It's surged from this low, right? How many days back is this? December 12th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just going to put 9 days on here. 10. Let's go 10 days just for a second. Over the last 10 days, energy's at the top. Does that mean, oh, Scott, 10 days, what are you doing? It's just me. I'm just saying, nothing crazy. I'm just saying that when we look at energy, let's pull up energy. It's broken its consolidation. My consolidation line was here. That was my consolidation, right? And I'd say this is kind of along the bottom. It's pretty good. Something like that. Consolidating. You'll notice it had big volume on its break. Yeah. So that's a valid break of the consolidation. At or above the old high. Still nothing here until what? You can even see your stochastics is coming down. I'm not like, oh, I want to buy some oil or energy. What I'm saying is if this thing pulls back, and I would say anywhere between maybe in this range. So if it pulls back into this range here and turns and makes a higher low, and this comes down and turns, that would be, I don't know if I'd call it a hedge. You're not really hedging, but you're basically saying, hey, look, oil has a potential to put a damper on the market. So if oil's going to break out and make a move, or energy, let's get a piece of it. Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm saying. We have plenty of hedge triggers that we're watching. This is kind of more of a balance trade, right? Balance. So over the next week or two, am I going to be watching this and looking to possibly put that trade on off the higher low? Yes. We'll keep talking about that. Okay. Fabulous. Looks great. No complaints. Still a 1. Let's round it off with the VIX. Okay, I feel pretty good about the VIX. Here's why. Oftentimes, I put my consolidations like this. And if that was a consolidation, that would have caused a hedge. But I didn't want to put it that tight. I don't want to hedge it 12 at a 12.4 on the VIX. That's so low, right? That hasn't really triggered anything. So if you remember, my thought process was to take these 2 days, one here, where they gave those big shadows, right? And draw the line across the top. And you can see we tested it over here, but we never broke it. So what does that mean? It means I never got triggered, right? Never triggered. I will tell you this. This is our low right here, 11.81. I actually see better than 50-50 chance of a hedge trade in the next week or two. What do I mean by that? I mean that if this comes down and then pauses, and then Friday, so that's Tuesday, day after Christmas, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Boom. What is this? Well, we hit a low and then we're bouncing off of it. That's a higher low. I will hedge that. Absolutely. And I would love to fail on that hedge, right? I would love to fail on that hedge. There's a good chance you'll have a lot of bullish, not a lot, but a good number. So this is when the hedge is especially important. Maybe the last hedge of the year. Remember, those of you who have been with the group and have been hedging maybe more than you ever have in your trading before, I want you to isolate those hedges for the year. Anything you did that was a hedge trade. So when you are, I don't have my log. Sorry, let me pull up. Where's my log? We have such a great group here. Way more people than I thought we were going to have. So thank you all. I think you're amazing. Mark onboarding docs and resources. Let me get the option log up. "2024, your best trading year ever. Most confident, most competent, most controlled year of trading. It's going to be a great year. I feel it. Trade log system. What system? Hedge. That's the system. Hedge. Make it easy. Make it easy so that then you can isolate the hedges. Then you can copy and paste the hedge trades over to a new spreadsheet. And then you can isolate the dashboard on those hedges and say, oh, I had 17 hedge trades and 11 were winners and 6 were losers, etc. The new log with the adjusted column, Stephen, is that what you mean with the third exit? Yes, I will make that my pre-New Year's resolution. Is that a thing? A pre-New Year's resolution? Let's do that. So that's what we need, right? We need maybe Steven and I will put he's a spreadsheet master. I'm not. Clearly, you see my spreadsheet. It's for function for sure. But maybe to show you some of these tricks of how you can isolate and then pull that data over to a different sheet to see only those trades, things like that. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. No. Yes. Can do, he said. Of course he said that. Of course he did. Yeah, so what I would say is this: the score is where it should be for me. I'm not going to score it down. Actually, you know what? I am going to score it down. I'm going to score it down 1/4 of a point because it did take this out. Didn't trigger anything, but we did have a slightly higher bump if we move along this right here at a 1.5, that's very bullish. I am going to pull it back. I'm going to pull it back a little bit and just kind of let it sit at 1.5. I'll be honest, I was a little uncomfortable with it at 1.75. Like, whoa, that's so strong. There it is. That's my score. If you left yours the same, I get it. I think you could be as high as a 7 right now. I think somebody could be that evasive and legendary 7 score. God, you don't see it often, man. I'm telling you that. But you could easily have left taking your volume up 0.5 point and left your VIX alone. So it could be anywhere for me from 6 to 7. If you're higher than 7, tell me. If you're lower than 6, tell me. Where are we off? Where are you thinking there's an issue? Otherwise, what do you guys think? Are you feeling this? Does this make sense? Do you feel like this is representative of the market we're in? Let me know. Let's dive into our watch list and see. Oh, the economic calendar real fast. Bob's in agreement. Economic calendar. What do we have? Christmas. Nothing. Bob, Sandy says yes. Okay. If I have Bob and Sandy, I have everything I need. Reload. And Steven. Got it? I don't know why that's not going. Nothing on Christmas. Consumer confidence on Tuesday. Nothing Wednesday. Standard jobless claims on Thursday. Inventories, there's not really anything there. Chicago business barometer, nobody cares. Bond market closes early. Yeah, there's nothing, basically, right? There's nothing. There's really no economic data. So a quiet week, volume is going to be extremely light. Very, very light volume. Doesn't mean the market can't move, though. It just doesn't. Some people are like, oh, you can absolutely find good signals. I've had a lot of people who kind of took it off, came back, and they're like, oh, I wish I would have traded. Well, yeah, man, you're sitting at home. Yeah, get on and look at the market. Don't want to miss good trade. We are at a 6.5. We are at a 6.5. Which means any dip, I'm buying the dip. Nick says, is there a volume level you would consider too low to trade? Too low to trade. Great question, Nick. No, not for me. Because same thing around Thanksgiving, we talked about volume being light and still willing to trade. Let me pull back out to the SPY. You can see that right around Thanksgiving time, look at your volume, really light through there. But a lot of things actually, well, I don't know. I think we had a few triggers through here that worked. This was a little better signal a week later, but now I'm okay with it. So I'm definitely expecting this. I mean, look at this. 29 million shares. Was that the day before? That was the day after Thanksgiving, I think. 22, yeah, day after Thanksgiving. I think we'll see around 50 million. It's going to drop even from here. It's going to drop even down from here. I would say we see it around, but no, I'm definitely willing to. All right, let's get to the list. I need to make a note of this. So Apple, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you had 3 red days in a row, and a lot of people look at this like, oh, the sellers. What sellers? What sellers? Average, less than average, even less than average. We just hit a new high at, let's just call it 200. And we're $6 below that. That's 3%. It's dropped 3%. That's begging us to be ready to trade it. Absolutely. Aflac, AIG. I don't know. I'm a little iffy on these. I took anyone trade these last week? I know I did. I know I did. Very small loss, but took the loss. Got in, thought great, out. Okay. When you have trades where you take it, especially if you get a good anticipatory signal, and then you end up at a wash or a slight loss, just because it just didn't materialize, and you're when I put that loss in the log, it's beautiful. It's like I know it's going to bring my average losing size down dramatically. So that was great. Great trade. Um, Evaluating trades real quickly. Good, great, amazing. That's all you should have. Good trades, great trades, amazing trades. It really wasn't the loss. Sandy said, what percentage loss would you get out? I mean, I really, if I'm buying an out of the money option, I don't want to lose more than maybe I'd like to keep it at 50%. I'm certainly willing to see it get to 70 at times. There's times where I'll buy an out of the money option. I'm like, you know what? These are pretty cheap. I'm just going to buy as many as I can afford for my position size. That way, if I took 100% loss, I'm not losing more than my position size dictates. If I'm getting 5 or 6 to 1 on an out of the money, I'm willing to go all or nothing on it, and I'm still going to try to salvage if I can. But this was triggered not by the percent loss, but by the fact that the stock just simply went wrong. So I entered here, and I believe my stop triggered me out here, plus 3 days of time decay. Yeah, wasn't bad. Pretty easy. I probably ended up being like a 15, 20% on the option, maybe something like that. Wasn't bad. Wasn't bad at all. A good trade, you followed all your rules and you kept your loss in parameters, right? In parameters. What makes a bad trade? You break your rules. That's it. That's a bad trade. If your loss was bigger than your position size allows, that's a bad trade. Something went wrong. Look at it, figure it out. What makes a great trade? Great trade is a trade I followed all my rules and made money, or cut my loss real well, right? Less than 50% loss. Great trade. That's a hard one. A lot of people struggle putting the label great on a losing trade. I don't think you should. I think you should absolutely put the label great on a losing trade. You get in, you have a 3-to-1 opportunity, right? I'm risking 500 to make 1,500. It didn't go my way. I lost $100. That's a great trade. To lose 100 in a situation that could have brought you 15. That's great. You got to see that as great. You did a great job cutting your loss. That's great. I want you to call it great. Amazing trades. Only winners can be amazing trades. Amazing trades, we follow our rules, they hit our targets, we exit correctly. That's it. Good, great, amazing. Crowd. Oh, it's coming, Michael. You know it's coming. I'm not gonna use these. I like the other financials better. AMD. I'm gonna put it on my list, but I do think we have better tech, better chip stocks to evaluate. Amazon on my list for sure. It made a new high. It looks like it's consolidating out of that new high. AXP, I don't think yet. I need to see more. It hasn't really consolidated. It's at its same old high. It was a great trade. It did phenomenally. That was an amazing trade last week. But it's not ready yet. Boeing definitely getting ready. BK on the list. There's financials and where is APH? I think I accidentally deleted it, Press. That's a great call out. APH. Oh no, wait a second. I took it off because of, did you trade the options? If you did, how were they? I think I took it off because I didn't like the option liquidity. Positive. Okay. The open interest was okay. I didn't love these wide spreads. This one's not bad, 15 cents. I don't love 60-cent spreads on a $5 option. And if you look at this, $4, like as it gets in the money, the market makers really widen that on you and they take your gain. Those bastards. So be careful with that. I want you to, are you willing to keep us posted on APH real time press? Because this is one where I would say, awesome. Let's just keep talking about it. Yeah, I want to, and when you're ready to exit, bring it up so I can talk to you about how can you try to work your way out and try to squeeze that spread just a little bit and work your limit orders. Yeah, that'll be a great example and representation that everybody could learn from. Very, very much appreciated that you're willing to. We loved the trade, right? I loved the stock, but when I saw the options, I was like, a little bit more iffy. Let's bring it up. God, the chart is phenomenal. It's a great signal too. I'm assuming you caught the anticipatory on Thursday and rode Friday, or did you catch on Friday? That's a great pull out of that flag. Little bit Thursday. Telling you, you guys make me want to cry tears of trading joy sometimes when I when I see these trades you're doing, and I'm like, oh, so good. Anyways, let's keep going. Let's go. Boeing's on the list. Okay, BK's on the list. BLDR. Anybody take it? Let me know if you did. I'm putting it on our list still, but absolutely. That was an old friend. We decided we wanted to hang out again. BLK, yes. BX, anyone? Tell me if any of these you took. So some of these are signaling, some of these, I mean, this one here is already at Heiken Ashi. Not just a transition, but that's momentum there. So very strong there. Citi. I actually don't like Citi, and I loved Citi. Citi was, this was an amazing trade here. Then it pulled back and it gave this weird like bam, and then it pulled back, and then it's just, I don't know. I need more on Citi. I need something more consistent than what it's showing right now. Caterpillar looks close. Okay, I want you to notice we're in the C's, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stocks. 9. 10. 10. Not COP. That we're waiting on that one. Costco, 11. I mean, it's like our whole entire watch list has the potential to be traded right now. If you ever are like, I'm a 6, and then you look at your watch list and it's paltry and there's not a lot of stocks there, that's a problem. But this watch list, the number of stocks that we have showing potential setups, clearly confirms everything that we're talking about. CPRT got removed not long ago. Huh? Ooh. Got removed and is getting put right back on. Perry. Nice. I don't remember why I removed it. I think because I had other things that look good, but you can see what happened. Broke its consolidation. Boom. Pulled back. Higher low, bouncing off the 50. Beautiful trigger point down here. Fabulous. Fabulous Friday entry on CPRT. Let's put it back on the list. Let's get it back on there. Love that, Perry. Yeah. Now CrowdStrike. Now CrowdStrike, Michael, and I agree. God, that look at that flag. It's ready to go. Right? That could be Tuesday. We got to be ready for these things. This looks fabulous. All right. Okay, how do the railroads look? CSX, not yet. DAL, ready to go. DHI. I'm iffy on that one. I'm gonna leave that off the list. If you put it on, I get it. You could put DIA on the list for sure. ENVX. Swear our entire watch list is ready to go this next week. That's why we can't miss it. Fastenal, no. Fluor, yes. Gold. If you're in it, looking like it's maybe hitting some old resistance and struggling to get there. I believe Press said he had one in gold. I don't know if he took profit yet or not. Anyone else? I think Perry's traded gold in here before. You guys know I don't really trade it. I watch it, I talk about maybe trading it, and then I never do because I'm a curse to gold. I'm a curse. I even told Press I'll just leave it alone so it can go on up. Google, strong. Yeah, still holding a piece. Gap, nope. In fact, I just don't like Gap now. I'm getting rid of Gap. I'm getting rid of it. If you want to keep it on yours, you can. I like Home Depot better. Took a loss. I did. I took the loss. That was another one last week. That one was a little bigger loss. Because it was like just the next day, and I just didn't like how it moved, so I closed that one. Steven has a spread. He's staying with it. I'm bouncing it out. Whoops. Home Depot, yes. Oh, IBM, we love you. I know I did. I know others did. Let's see if this thing can hold up. Yeah. That was I like to play that floating line trick, and it doesn't work that well. I caught that one, and so I was like, ooh, that was fun. We'll see what happens there. ICE, nope. Intel. I had it. I didn't see a new trade in here. AI shows IBM strong. Love it. Love it. I'm a product of IBM. My dad retired from a 30-year career at IBM. Special place in my heart. I actually have his 25, but back in the day when they did this, I believe it was 93 when he had his 25-year anniversary. They gave him a placard that says the number 25 in quarters with each year of the 25 years. And then they give you a nice silver Rolex. I have his Rolex. That was one of the things I got when he passed. Nothing for me on Intel. I mean, it looks strong. If you're in it, okay. Steven says he's holding his last leg. I mean, you can see it got to the target, right? It got to the target. But it looks strong. Absolutely. IWM. Whoo, look at that. Player's got a piece of that. JP Morgan. I think JP Morgan may actually be slowing up and giving us a chance to catch it. KKR. God, this may be the longest. When you look at the email and you look at the list of things we're watching, it's going to be the longest we've ever had by far. By far. No, I'm on my last piece. No, I'm not. I closed that. Sorry. Those last 2 days. The last piece of Google, yes. The last piece of Meta was closed. Now what? I want it to pull back and give me another chance. Microsoft. I think a few of you are still kind of holding some of that. That thing's a little bit grinding in a basing pattern. I took the loss 2 weeks ago on this one, right through here on this day. I didn't like that. It's recovered back up some, but I got to tell you, if I had stayed in, I'd probably be at the same place I was because it really, now it's lost some extra time decay. So depending on the trade you have, be careful with that one. Netflix. Yeah, starting to pull back, starting to set up. Can't even keep room on my card. NVIDIA. I like NVIDIA better than Intel. Car, no. PDD, as long as it doesn't break back into the gap, it's got to hold here. If it doesn't hold there, no. But if it can hold there, yes. Okay. PLTR. Same thing. If it can hold, I would consider it because I do like PLTR. PNC, yes. I had a great trade. Nope, an amazing trade. I had an amazing trade on PNC. Qs, RCL, no. Rivian, yes. feel like I want to trade an EV that's not Tesla. Roku, I'm a no. It's in a consolidation. If you like bounces off the 50, it's sitting. I'm a yes on Shopify. Oh, so much opportunity setting up for us right now. I'm a yes on SMCI. Snap. It's kind of. We'll see. SPY, Tesla, no. UBS, no. UNP, no. There's the VIX. Wells Fargo, yes. Wells Fargo, I think, gave someone an amazing trade recently. That looks ready to go again. WMB, no. Walmart, not yet for me. I still need to see a higher low, but it is trying to recover. US Steel, it looks like it's kind of setting up. This one was a part of a buyout. So just always want to be careful with that, right? Always want to be careful. Here's our ETFs. Basic Materials obviously has some strength, but grinding a little. Communication Services looks great, but overextended. So I'm ending trades on Google and Meta. It's out of sync with the others, which is fine because then maybe it gives signals out of sync as well. Energy, not yet. Financials look strong. Industrials look strong. Technology strong, but a little overbought. However, we still have signals setting up with Apple and some chip stocks. Staples look stable. Utilities looks stable. There it is. That's the list. God, that's a long list of great stocks. Let's pat ourselves on the back. We really worked that watch list back to where it needs to be. That watch list was low back in, middle of October. A third the size it is now. All we had was like our staples, I feel like we've done a good job there. I don't feel like there's any sectors that are not represented well with strong, high liquidity, good optionable stocks. We're great coming into 2024 for that. The posture is great. The setups for this week, great. We may not get them. It may grind sideways, and it just is like they're just kind of sitting there. But I think we're going to get some. So let's be ready. So good to see everybody. Thank you. I mean, we had such a great amount of attendance. I think it represents this group's commitment. God, I love this group so much. So I hope you guys have an amazing Christmas. We will be back on. Do I use Vantage Point? I've seen Vantage Point. I've actually coached for Vantage Point previously. So I think it's good software, but I think it's it has its limitations, like anything has its limitations. I like the concept of putting an AI model, something that's a little bit more just like automatic, as a tool. But for me, I've yet to see any AI that has moved above my standard price action analysis. I'm going to rely on that first, then look to AI for confirmation. So how you use that tool, I think, is important. Great question. Thanks, Michael. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Greg. Merry Christmas to you, sir. I hope everyone has a great time with your families and whatever it is that you're doing. I will see you guys Tuesday morning. As always, happy trading.